German officers dismissed the Soviet IL-2 Sturmovik as a slow, doomed aircraft or machine they believed would never survive modern combat. They were wrong. When the Ilyushin IL-2 entered service in 1941, even Soviet pilots feared it. Early losses were heavy, and crews grimly nicknamed it the Flying Coffin. German commanders initially agreed. The IL-2 was slow, flew low, and looked like an easy target. But they completely misunderstood its purpose. The IL-2 wasn't a dogfighter. It was a flying tank designed to absorb incredible punishment while delivering devastating attacks on ground targets. Its heavily armored cockpit protected the pilot, allowing them to fly straight into enemy fire. Its cannons, rockets, and bombs tore through German tank columns and infantry formations. Soon, German soldiers dreaded its arrival, calling it the Black Death. The Sturmovik became a symbol of Soviet resilience and a key weapon on the Eastern Front. It wasn't just a plane, it was an iron storm that helped turn the tide of the war. Thanks for watching. In the desperate days of 1941, as the German war machine pushed deep into the Soviet Union, Moscow Factory No. 37 rushed a new design into production. This was the T-60, a light tank weighing barely 6 tons. It was fast, nimble, and easy to build. But its thin armor and small 20mm cannon offered little comfort to the crews inside. Soviet tankers dreamed of the mighty T-34s and KV-1 South, but what many got was this tiny, undergunned machine. When the brutal Battle of Stalingrad began, the Red Army faced a logistical nightmare. German artillery hammered the Volga River, obliterating supply columns trying to reach the beleaguered 62nd Army. In this moment of crisis, the humble T-60 found a new, vital purpose. Stripped of its turret, it was transformed into a rugged, armored tractor, hauling sleds loaded with ammunition and food across the frozen, treacherous river. They became the unsung lifeline of... Did you know one of the greatest fighter planes of World War II was initially a flop? When North American aviation first offered the P-51 Mustang to the British in 1940, the Royal Air Force wasn't impressed. Powered by an Allison engine, the early Mustang struggled above 15,000 feet, far too low to effectively combat German fighters. British pilots saw it as fast with a long range, but not a true high-altitude dogfighter. Some even joked it was just a fuel tank with wings. But everything changed in 1942. British engineers had a brilliant idea. Why not fit the Mustang with their powerful Rolls-Royce Merlin engine? The result was legendary. The Merlin-powered Mustang could climb higher, fly faster, and outmaneuver almost anything in the sky. It became the ultimate long-range escort fighter, protecting Allied bombers all the way to Berlin and back, and fundamentally changing the air war over Europe. It's a perfect example of how one single change can turn a good design into an absolute icon. In 1941, German pilots laughed at Britain's newest fighter, calling it a brick with wings. Within 2 years, that same aircraft would become one of the most feared tank killers on the Western Front. When the Hawker Typhoon first entered service in late 1941, it was a disappointment. Its thick wings and huge Napier Sabre engine made it fast at low altitude, but it was a slow climber, prone to engine failures, and even had structural problems. Luftwaffe pilots flying the sleek Bf-109s openly mocked it, but the Royal Air Force didn't give up. They solved the engine issues and reinforced the tail. Then, they armed it with 4 20mm cannons and 8 rockets. Suddenly, this brick was a monster. During the Battle of Normandy, Typhoons unleashed hell on German tank divisions. Diving from the sky, they could knock out panzers with devastating accuracy, halting entire armored columns. The once laughed-at fighter became the bane of the German army. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest strengths are forged in the fires of early failure. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more incredible stories from history. In 1942, Japanese engineers openly mocked America's new PT boats. They called them slow, fragile, and militarily useless. A tiny wooden boat against a steel destroyer, it sounded like a joke. Months later, in the dark waters of the Solomon Islands, nobody was laughing. When the US Navy first deployed these patrol torpedo boats, Japanese officers were confident. Their powerful destroyers, like the legendary Yukikaze and Amajiri, could outrun and outgun anything so small. They saw the PT boats as little more than a nuisance. But they completely underestimated one crucial advantage: speed and stealth under the cover of night. While the Japanese destroyers were faster in open water, the small, agile PT boats used the darkness and coastal geography to their advantage. They would hide, wait, and then strike with lightning speed, firing their torpedoes before vanishing back into the night. Those useless wooden boats began ripping into Japanese supply convoys, becoming a persistent, deadly threat that the Imperial Navy never saw coming. In August 1942, as German forces pushed into Stalingrad, they expected a swift collapse. They didn't count on the sheer will of the Soviet people. At the heart of the city, the Stalingrad tractor factory, or STZ, became a fortress of industry. The front line wasn't miles away. It was right inside the factory walls. Workers like Ivan Mamonov and Anna Smirnova refused to leave their posts. Day and night, they assembled T-34 tanks, welding armor and mounting guns as German artillery from the 6th Army relentlessly pounded the grounds around them. They weren't just building tanks, they were building hope. According to both Soviet and German records, newly completed T-34s, often unpainted and crewed by factory workers, would roll directly off the assembly line and into the brutal street-to-street fighting. These factory-fresh tanks became a symbol of Stalingrad's unyielding resistance, proving that even in the darkest hour, the human spirit could forge victory from the fires of war. Thanks for watching. Did you know that in 1944, German prisoners of war captured in France were stunned by what they found in American camps? Many of them were eating better than their own soldiers on the front lines. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. During World War II, the United States held over 370,000 German POZ in camps scattered all across the country. From Texas to Nebraska to Georgia, the U.S. strictly followed the 1929 Geneva Convention. This international agreement required that prisoners of war receive the same basic rations as the soldiers of the army holding them. For these German POEs, this meant real meat, fresh vegetables, milk, and even desserts, like ice cream luxuries that had become incredibly rare back in war-torn Germany. While their comrades were struggling with meager rations, these prisoners were often getting 3 square meals a day. It was a surreal and eye-opening experience that highlighted the immense industrial and agricultural power of the United States. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, ever heard of the P-38 Lightning? When this beast of a plane, with its unique twin-boom design, first showed up in the Mediterranean in early 1943, Italian pilots weren't too impressed. They thought it looked slow and clumsy compared to their own agile fighters like the Mach-E C-200. They were masters of the dogfight, turning tight circles in the sky, but the American pilots had a totally different playbook. They didn't want to get into a turning battle. Instead, they used what's called boom and zoom tactics. They'd dive from high altitudes, building up incredible speed thanks to those 2 powerful turbo-supercharged Allison engines. They'd hit their target with a devastating burst of fire and then use that momentum to climb straight back up, disappearing into the sun before the enemy even knew what hit them. It was a game-changer. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. October 19 for 4. The USS Samuel B. Roberts, a small destroyer escort, suffers a catastrophic boiler explosion just days before the pivotal battle off Samar. The ship is crippled, its hull breached. The crew fears they'll miss the fight entirely. But back at the shipyard, an unsung hero, a welder, whose name is lost to history, steps up. Working against the clock, under immense pressure, he performs a series of miraculous emergency welds, patching the gaping hole in the ship's hull. His work wasn't pretty, but it was strong. Just strong enough. Days later, those very welds held firm as the Sammy B charged headfirst into a vastly superior Japanese fleet, earning the name the destroyer escort that fought like a battleship. This single act of shipyard grit allowed a legendary vessel to sail into history and help turn the tide of the war in the Pacific. That's the power of one person doing their job and doing it right. When Nazi Germany invaded the Soviet Union in June 1941, the Red Army faced a catastrophic problem. In just the first few months, they lost tens of thousands of vital transport trucks, leaving their forces struggling to move men and equipment. The situation was desperate. Then came the Lend-Lease Act, and with it, a true game-changer from America. Over 50,000 Willys MB and Ford GPW Jeeps were shipped to the Eastern Front. To the Soviet soldiers, these little vehicles seemed almost magical. Weighing just over a ton, the Jeep was a powerhouse. It could effortlessly haul a 45mm anti-tank gun, or even tow a 76mm divisional gun. Incredibly, it could even pull a fully loaded Zis-3, a weapon that normally required a heavy, 6-wheeled truck. The rugged, versatile Jeep became an unsung hero, keeping the Red Army mobile and fighting all the way to Berlin.